Experiment time. Do you really have to shape your sourdough bread? Hi, I'm Sune and I'm a food geek. Today I'm going to see if you really have to shape your bread or how much shaping is needed to get a good looking bread with lots of oven spring. I've done this experiment before, but I wanted to put another bread in the mix because a lot of people say that you don't have to pre-shape. But I think that if you divide your dough, it's certainly important. If you then instead work with one dough using coil folds and maybe even lamination, that should work as a pre-shape, but that's my hypothesis anyway. So the four loaves that we're going to compare are 1. Dough split from a larger dough, not shaped at all. 2. Dough split from a larger dough, only final shaping. 3. The control, which is split from a larger dough and will receive both pre-shape and final shape, how I usually do it. 4. The last one will be coil-folded and fermented separately and will only receive a final shaping. If you're new to this channel, I bake a lot of sourdough bread and I make delicious food from all over the world. If you want to see more of this content, please join me by subscribing and ringing the bell so you won't miss any future videos. The dough is my standard experiment dough, which I only change if the experiment has anything to do with the ingredients. I do this so that you can compare experiments across all of my experiment videos. It's 80% bread flour, 20% rye flour, 80% hydration, 20% inoculation, and 2% salt. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider joining my Patreon. You can also buy some merch, or use the super thanks, or use the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Those were the words. This is the experiment.
First, I mix the dough for the coil-folded bread, since it has to be separate. Then I mix the dough for the 3 other loaves. Then I perform 3 sets of folding, spaced out by 30 minutes. I will ferment the coil-folded dough in the bowl. The other doughs go into a Cambro to ferment. The fermentation will be done at room temperature so that the 2 separate doughs can finish around the same time.
I'm reading an anti-gravity book. I can't put it down.
They were good and ready at the same time, so I split the larger dough into 3. Alright, time for the shaping. The first one will just go straight into the Banneton. For the second one, I will just do a final shaping. For the third one, which is the coil-folded dough, I also do a final shaping. That's a lot easier to work with. And then the control, I'll do a pre-shape. And then leave all the loaves on the counter for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, I final shape the control. Wow, that is really easy to work with compared. Then they all go into the fridge, which ended up being about 36 hours. Alright, I'm going to be baking using 2-stage baking. So I heated my oven to 230 degrees Celsius, 450 degrees Fahrenheit. If you want to learn how you can save time and electricity when baking multiple loaves in a Dutch oven, watch the video in the card above. I prepare the loaf that wasn't shaped. I dust it. I flip it. I score it. And then I bake it. After about 24 minutes, I prepare the next loaf. Then I'm going to swap the two loaves. That's some sad oven spring. I keep baking this way for all 4 loaves. Alright, let's see the crumb of all the loaves. Let me just give you an idea how these loaves turned out.
So that's pretty conclusive. Gluten development is not enough in itself. You need to align the gluten so that it holds the dough together. This is what we're told, but this one holds true. It's important to note that this experiment explores high hydration sourdough bread. If you use a low hydration dough, it will be much easier for the bread to retain its shape. So with regards to the coil folding during bulk, it helps create a network of gluten outside the dough, so that makes it so that pre-shaping isn't needed. When all of that is said, the control was by far the easiest one to work with than any of the others. Well, except that the one that wasn't shaped at all, but you know what I mean. I hope you learned something today. See you next time.